Okay, the Global Network Forum. Now, this is interesting. This is where the heads of the Five Eyes get together once a year and talk about what they're doing together. Why do we need the forum? If targets were to be tracked successfully, the challenge must be addressed from a global perspective. So the 2004 meeting was then the inauguration of this Global Network Forum.
I haven't heard of this link access programs group before.
Here's some more information about this Five Eyes SIGINT partnership business vision. This is the document that I would love to get my hands on one day. It's like the manifesto that governs the relationship and the mission of the Five Eyes. The Five Eyes enterprise will subscribe to sharing as the preferred default option. So by default, they would share. That is really interesting.
And they've underlined it themselves.
Yeah, identifying a mechanism that allows the sharing of sensitive information between partners would enhance all accesses. Critical to the success of exploiting the global network to satisfy customer requirements. Through a great deal of background work, the initial charter was drafted for the Global Network Forum. The structure identified the principles of sensitive data sharing established through the drafting of a tiered approach to sensitive data sharing document. That's particularly interesting to me because that tiered approach, I've actually never read that before, but that's how I have envisioned and how I've previously written about the way that information flows across the Five Eyes. That's when I talked about the tiered wedding cake in reverse.
Definitely. I remember you describing that.
Where the bulk of the information is retained at the top tier, and then portions of it flow down through the second, third, and fourth tiers.
Definitely. And I remember we discussed the also being chokeholded and obviously tiered, and not tiered, but it was disseminated over time through different levels in a similar sort of a way.
Definitely, and the position of the countries on like which tier they're on was dependent upon the level of favor they had carried with the United States.
Yeah.
So what have they achieved so far? They've worked out who they are and what they're doing. They have established 2 new Five Eyes bodies. This is the first I've heard of this. The Special Source Advisory Board and the Collection Management Advisory Board. Agreement on the tiered approach to sensitive data sharing. The Special Source Advisory Board are charged with defining a new Five Eyes ECI to support the new agreement by December 2004. Agreement on updates to the existing ticket window CONOP with an implementation plan to be presented to the Global Network Forum in December was established to enable reciprocal data sharing with second-party partners. Second-party partners are the Five Eyes without jeopardizing sensitive sources and methods. They continue to push forward on the actions from that forum and with preparations for the next conference in December. This looks interesting.
Yeah,
They
it
were
does.
trying to identify commonality between partners on the definition of a global access map. So to make sense of this, I think we have to look back at what we've learned in recent weeks. So we've learned that the NSA has access to all of the other countries' satellite infrastructure.
Yeah,
And direct accesses to the spying. Basically, the NSA is able to use the hardware and facilities of its partner agencies autonomously. And this is something that we know from the Kim.com situation as well, that the GCSB, the New Zealand NSA's spying infrastructure, continued to be used to spy on Kim.com illegally after the GCSB had stopped. Am I making sense? So,
yeah.
So this is something that was discovered in court. Even though the GCSB had said, okay, we know what we're doing is illegal and we're going to stop it because it's illegal, their apparatus, their spying apparatus continued to be used to spy on Kim.com. And at the time, the only explanation for that was that the NSA were using the GCSB's instruments to spy on Kim even after the GCSB had stopped.
Yeah.
And these documents are explaining to us how that could happen, because it was a big question in the New Zealand papers. How could this happen? How could our spy agency's gear be used to spy on Kim after our government had said no more? And this is how. So when they're talking here about this global access map,
incredible.
That map, I assume, would be like a network map. And that network map would show who has what hardware and apparatus where. And we know from these documents that the NSA has direct access to all of it.
Yeah.
That also then ties back into what Snowden had talked about, where he had said that if a country couldn't spy on its own citizens, it could simply ask the NSA to spy on them instead.
Yeah.
And that they used each other as a bypass. And the same with NSA with GCHQ. So NSA couldn't spy on Americans, but GCHQ could spy on Americans.
Yeah, that definitely goes back to that tiered issue that we were talking about just a few minutes ago.
Sure. And then that tiered data sharing is how they then funnel the data back to the people who weren't supposed to be spying on their own citizens in the first place.
Definitely.
Again, a great deal of background work will be carried out with partners prior to the forum to ensure we can reach agreement points promptly and cover the wide range of topics on the agenda in the short time available. Keep a lookout on SID today for another follow-up article after the December conference. Well, we definitely will. We'll be very happy to see what they have to say after the December conference.
Definitely.